Most people remember John Virgo for his wild impressions and trick shots on Big Break. But here's what they don't know, that this guy turned professional at 30 years old and still managed to reach the top 10 in the world rankings. He became one of the most recognizable voices in British sport, and his journey is way more interesting than you'd expect. John Trevor Virgo is from Salford, a place that was only known for football and working-class dreams. Snooker wasn't even on the radar as a serious career path, and most kids picked up a cue for fun, not fortune. John didn't even start playing snooker seriously until his late teens. While other future pros were grinding it out as kids, he was doing regular teenager stuff. But when he finally got serious about the game, something clicked fast. The snooker scene in Northern England during the 1960s was rough around the edges. John learned his craft in places where the tables were old, and every shot mattered because someone was always watching with money on the line. By his early 20s, John was good enough to turn heads. Really good. He had this natural feel for the game that can't be taught. The way he read angles, the smooth action on his cue, it was clear he had something special. And here's where John's story gets wild. He didn't turn professional until he was 30 years old. Most players are thinking about retirement at that age, not starting their careers. But John had been working regular jobs while playing snooker on the side, building his skills without the pressure of making it his only income. When he finally made the jump to professional snooker in 1976, it was like watching someone skip the queue. He reached his highest ranking, world number 10, during the 1979-80 season. That's incredible for anyone, but for someone who started so late, it was unheard of. His breakthrough came quickly. In 1977, just 1 year after turning pro, John made it to the World Championship semi-finals. He lost to John Spencer, but getting that far in his second year as a professional was huge. The snooker world started paying attention. He won the 1979 UK Championship, which was massive. The UK Championship was one of the biggest tournaments in snooker, and winning it put John in elite company. But that wasn't all. He also won the 1983 Classic and the 1985 World Paris Championship with Willie Thorne. The World Pairs win was special because it showed John could perform under pressure with a partner. Willie Thorne was no joke. He was one of the best players of that era. John's highest break was 139, which he made at the 1987 English Professional Championship. For context, that's seriously high-level stuff. You don't fluke a break that good, because it takes real skill and nerves of steel. What made John different was that he truly understood the game. He could read what other players were thinking, anticipate their moves, and set traps that looked innocent but were deadly. That's championship-level snooker intelligence. The thing about John's playing style was how smooth it looked. He would walk around the table like he was taking a casual stroll, then drop a ball that looked impossible. Other players made hard shots look hard. John made them look easy. By the late 1980s, John's rankings started to slide. He ended the 1989-90 season as world number 14, but dropped out of the elite top 16 the following season. For a professional snooker player, falling out of the top 16 is brutal. It means fewer tournament invitations and watching your career slip away. Most players in John's position would have panicked. Some would have quit. Others would have tried desperately to cling to their playing careers. But John did what others didn't. He looked ahead. He'd always been good with people, funny, quick with impressions, and he had this knack for explaining snooker in ways that made sense to regular viewers. The timing was perfect, even if he didn't realize it at the time. British television was changing. Game shows were getting more popular, and producers were looking for personalities who could entertain while also bringing credibility to their shows. In 1991, something happened that would make John Virgo a household name across Britain. Big Break aired on BBC One, hosted by Jim Davidson with John Virgo as referee. The show was genius in its simplicity. 3 contestants paired with professional snooker players answering questions and playing shots for prizes. But what made it special was the chemistry between Jim Davidson and John Virgo. Jim brought the comedy, but John brought the snooker expertise and something else: his impressions. John could mimic other snooker players so perfectly it was scary. His impression of Ray Reardon was spot on. his take on Alex Higgins had people in stitches. But the real magic happened during the trick shot segments. When a contestant got knocked out, John would demonstrate an incredible trick shot, then let them try to replicate it for a consolation prize. The show ran for over a decade, and during that time, John became more famous than he had ever been as a player. When Big Break ended in 2002, John didn't disappear. He became a full-time member of BBC's Snooker coverage in 1996, and actually started his commentary work while still doing Big Break. And this is where John's deep knowledge of the game really shone. Commentary is harder than it looks. You need to explain complex shots to casual viewers while keeping serious fans engaged. You have to fill dead air during long safety exchanges. Most importantly, you need to read the momentum of a match and help viewers understand what they're watching. John excelled at all of this. His commentary style was enthusiastic without being over the top. He could spot a crucial shot 3 moves before it happened and explain why it mattered. When players attempted difficult shots, John would break down the technique in ways that made sense to everyone watching. His most famous catchphrase became widely quoted and a staple of British popular culture.
Where's the cue ball going? Oh, so close to the black.
The BBC commentary team during John's peak years was legendary. Him, Dennis Taylor, and other former pros created a style of snooker commentary that's never been matched. They brought insight, personality, and genuine passion to every broadcast. In 2021, things got rocky for John. The BBC initially told him that his time in the commentary box was coming to an end. After decades of service, it looked like John was being pushed out. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Snooker fans across Britain were furious. Social media exploded with support for John and Dennis Taylor. The BBC received so many complaints that they had to reconsider. The BBC made a U-turn and told John he would be involved with their snooker coverage for the foreseeable future. It was a rare case of public pressure actually working. Fans had spoken and the BBC listened. The whole situation showed how much John meant to snooker fans. John's career earnings as a snooker player were solid, but not spectacular by modern standards. He made his money in an era when prize funds were much smaller than today. But his real wealth came from his television work. Big Break alone made John financially secure for life. The show was a massive hit, running for over a decade and spawning international versions. Add in his BBC commentary work, personal appearances, and corporate events, and John built a very comfortable lifestyle. John's story is about more than snooker. It's about reinvention, about finding new ways to use your talents when the obvious path closes. He could have been bitter when his playing career declined. Instead, he built something bigger. He also represents a different era of British television. Before social media, before streaming, when Saturday night game shows brought families together, John was part of that shared cultural experience. In snooker terms, John bridged the gap between the sport's traditional image and its modern popularity. He helped make snooker accessible to casual viewers, while never dumbing it down for serious fans. That's a rare skill. At 78 years old, John Virgo is still going strong. His voice is still a regular feature of BBC's snooker coverage. His enthusiasm for the game hasn't dimmed after all these years. New generations of snooker fans are discovering John through YouTube compilations and classic Big Break episodes. His catchphrases are still quoted. His trick shots are still studied by amateur players trying to replicate the magic. And that's a wrap on John Virgo's life so far. What do you think made John Virgo so special? Was it his playing ability, his television work, or something else entirely? Let us know what you think in the comments. For more snooker content, click the screen below.